to today's video. I want to talk about the spiritual meaning behind a video game, Saints Row 2, right? The spiritual meaning behind a video game, Saints Row 2. So, before I get into this, I'm going to give you a brief description of Saints Row 2. A lot of people should know what Saints Row 2 is. A lot of people do know what Saints Row 2 is. But Saints Row 2, or just the whole Saints Row series, was slept on in general. To me, that's my opinion. The whole Saints Row franchise was slept on. To me, that's just my opinion and my perspective. Now, THQ, they made Saints Row. I haven't played the first Saints Row. I know that shit is bad. I know I watched all the cutscenes and shit, but I haven't played the first Saints Row, and I want to. I could not find that video game no fucking where. Not even on the internet or anything. It's weird, and all that is gonna tie into this video and making the connection between the bankruptcy between THQ, the video game THQ. A lot of people might be familiar with them. They used to make the WWE games, SmackDown versus Raw. They used to make those video games. They used to have a little THQ on the left and shit that. That was that company. They made Saints Row. They used to make the Rugrats. They made all the Nickelodeon games back in the day, shit like that. They made a lot of shit. I'm trying to think. They made SpongeBob games, which was actually fun. So that shit was fun as hell. They should have kept doing that. They made a lot of shit. But I believe that the Saints Row franchise had something to do with their bankruptcy. Also, their bankruptcy had something to do with a lot of bad business mistakes. I want people to understand that when I talk spiritual, that spirituality and the physical reality, they are hand in hand, right? You see what I'm saying? The physical world and the spiritual world are hand in hand, but don't get it confused. The physical world is an illusion and all that, but we're still here in this illusion every day, just like we're still in the spiritual world every day, because it's hand to hand. The spiritual world is quote unquote active as well as the physical world is active. If you want to speak, it's in real time. Like how I'm making this video in real time, the fucking spiritual world is in real time. You see what I'm saying? So it's no breaks, but I'm trying to let you know that don't get you have to have a balance. You have to balance out the physical and you have to balance out the spiritual. You can't be too much into the spiritual world. You can't be too much into the physical world. You have to find that balance. Just like you can't be too much into your emotions and you can't be too much into your mental. Everything has to be a perfect balance. That's why the body is an orchestra. That's why we have organs, because our body is an orchestra. They play those tones. See, when your stomach growl and shit, that's your vibration rising up. You see? But anyway, so that was just a brief description of the company. I forgot the name of the guy who ran the company, but they had, and the crazy thing about it is because, don't get me wrong, I believe that the Saints Row franchise has something to do with their bankruptcy. I really believe that, right? But like I said, you can't get too much tied into the spiritual world either. So in real physical reality, they had a shitty ass business team. They should have called me. You feel me? They had a shitty ass business team. They were up there with the big dogs, with EA, and they were up there with I forgot the other company, but I know they was up there with EA, and it was up there with some other company. I don't want to just throw a name out there because I forgot the other name, but I know EA was up there, and they were tied for. They had $1 billion. THQ had $1 billion, and in 5 to 10 years, from 2000, from 2008 to 2011. So about 9-10 years, they went totally to shit because they had a shitty ass business team. They didn't make good business decisions. But at the same time, I really believe Saints Row 2, well, just the Saints Row franchise, but especially Saints Row 2. You gotta play Saints Row the third as well. I played that game once, I have to play it again. But Saints Row 2 is deep. I got to play the first Saints Row. I know that went deep too. That's why I can't find the shit nowhere. It's hard to find that game. Even in the past, years ago, I've been trying to find the first Saints Row. Can't. Saints Row 2, that game is deep. Now listen. So the thing about the Saints, right? So The information on the Saints is the main character. That's you, whoever's playing the game, right? That's you, that's me, whatever. And you create your character. Now, I believe Saints Row is like one of the best games ever made because you can do so much shit in Saints Row 2. Like, honestly, it's really better than Grand Theft Auto 4. You see what I'm saying? Real shit. Grand Theft Auto 5 is up there with Grand Theft Auto 5 for its time. That's the thing people don't understand. Saints Row 2 is up there with Grand Theft Auto 5 for its time. Like, Grand Theft Auto 5 is legendary, but Saints Row 2 is legendary too. Because in my opinion, Saints Row 2 outdid Grand Theft Auto 4. Even though Grand Theft Auto 4 won Game of the Year because it was more like serious, but now they just, like I said, the Saints Row franchise it has a deep meaning. So people don't understand, right? That the Saints, right? Like you got the New Orleans Saints, the football team, right? NFL football team, right? The New Orleans Saints, and their colors is what, like purple and gold or some shit, or gold and black or some shit, or something like that. People don't know who the Saints is. All the Saints and stuff, all that stuff goes back to the Moors, right? Like when you hear the name Saint Peter, Saint Mary, Saint Joseph, that shit funny. You hear like just Saint Paul, like just all these different saints and all that stuff. Those just a couple of names. Like you have the saints, all like I said in my videos back. All these people that's on the planet are reincarnations of all these people that you heard all these stories of in history class and all this shit. All these people are back on the planet today. All these evil spirits and shit, they back on the planet today. They just in a modern form. Just like Rick and Morty in a modern era. You see what I'm saying? Real shit. Like basically, like this is like I'm just saying, I'm just explaining it for people who so they can understand better. There's like biblical times in the modern era, basically, if you want to get technical. That's not really what it is, but that's so people can understand what I'm saying. Like that's basically what it is. And all these people back on the planet today, a lot of people are giving you messages. So in the Saints, the main character, he gets blown up in a bomb at the end of the game of the first Saints Row. So the second Saints Row 2, it starts the game of you in a prison hospital, you still in a coma from the bomb. You know what I'm saying? This dude named Carlos, he come in what's it called? The infirmary. He gets stabbed up, you go into the infirmary, I think that's what it's called. You know, the prison hospital and shit. So he do all that to talk to me or you, whoever playing the game, and blah blah blah. You gotta take back over. You gotta take back over, right? The Saints. So people don't understand that the game is really about the Saints, which is the Moors taking back over. Because if you think about it, first Saints Row, like the Saints was already taken over, right? But then they got slaughtered because of that bomb blew up and they killed the leader. So the Saints fell apart. So if you want to get technical, that's basically like them saying that Moors fell. Just like that's the truth. The Moors fell, but they're giving it to you in a very simple form so you can understand. But people looking at it at a physical level, you gotta look at the spiritual level. They're giving it to you in the perspective of gangs so people can understand it. But if you look at it deeper, the Saints, you know what I'm saying? Like they just think, oh, that's just a name. That shit don't mean shit. That shit does mean something, right? So the Saints, the Saints Row 2 is all about rebuilding, right? Listen, it's all about rebuilding, right? Saints Row 2 is all about them, the Saints rebuilding and coming back and taking back their turf, which is called Stillwater, right? And they got a lot of towns called Fillmore, Stillmore, like all this different shit with more in it. You see the number 13 numerous times. Their color is purple, which represents melanin, right? Right? Okay. So then, in the game, right? So you taking back over this shit, right? So as you take over in Saints Row 2, Saints Row the 3rd, right? They took it from gangs all the way to the corporate industry, where the Saints were from gang banging, and they took the gang banging into the politic world. Basically, they telling you that this is the type of shit that's going on, right? Right? I'm just giving you a brief example. They tell you this is the type of shit that's going on, right? So then they made Saints Row the 4th edition or some shit, like Saints Row 4, right? Saints Row 4, you the president. The Saints have taken the corporate business because in Saints Row the 3rd, you running like legitimate businesses, but niggas still gang banging. They just try to launder their behavior through that, basically, right? So in Saints Row, the 4th Saints Row, right? That's Saints Row the 3rd I was just talking about. The 4th Saints Row, they have a draconian that takes over the world, and he puts you and your gang basically in the illusional world, and you gotta break out. A draconian, right, puts the saints, which is the Moors, into an illusion. And Moors, and listen, in the saints, you have all different color people in this game, right? You got so-called white people, you got so-called black people, you got so-called Asians, you got so-called Latinos, all these different people in the Saints gang. So it's not just like Moors are all different colors. You see what I'm saying? Because everybody comes from the Moorback woman. All the original roots come from the Moor. You see what I'm saying? So in the fourth Saints Row, it's a draconian, which is a demon, something against man, right? In the fourth Saints Row, he takes over, right? Mm-hmm. And puts the saints into an illusion, and you have to break out the illusion. What the fuck do that sound like to you? The shit that's going on with reality today. So let me give you a brief summary. So the first Saints Row, like I said, I gotta play that, but anyway, at the end, he ended up getting blew up. Boom. You see what I'm saying? The main character ended up getting blew up. The Saints fell apart. The Moors fell apart, right? So in Saints Row 2, right, you have to rebuild the Saints, but you have to rebuild the Moors. It's really, what the symbolism is the Moors reclaiming their power, because you have to take back your territory, which was your territory, because all the other gangs came in, which you could say the other countries came in, invaded the Moors, right? You could say the Native Americans of America, America, right? And think about it, right? They came and invaded. Now the Moors are reclaiming their power, so they're taking back their territory. Just like how now the Moors, the children of the Most High, the Elohim, are claiming back their power. They starting to get their land back. They starting to get their stuff back. They telling you this shit in these games. They just putting it in simplistic form, like game banging, so you can understand it on a physical level. I'm understanding this shit on a spiritual level. So in Saints Row, right, in the Saints Row 2, you rebuilding all this shit, right? You taking back you basically reclaiming your land, right? After the first Saints Row, the Saints fell apart. Saints Row 2, you have to rebuild the Saints, which you have to reclaim your land back. Saints Row the third, after they do the game bang and stuff and reclaim their land, they take all that and put it into a corporate business, right? Meaning that they being self-sufficient and they having a business that what the 13th son and me and other people would tell you to do is be self-sufficient, have your own business. Right? That's what Saints Row the Third about. They take the game back and turn it to a corporate business. The Moors taking the Saints Row 2, the Moors took their land back, right? They reclaimed their land back. Saints Row the Third, they took it and they being self-sufficient. Now they had their own business. Now Saints Row the fourth edition, which is Saints Row 4, a Draconian, right? You're the president. You're the leader. You're the president of America, right? The Saints, the Moors, they got all their land back and shit, right? And a draconian, a demon, something that's against man, comes back and puts the saints, which are the Moors, into an illusion so they can forget who they are, put them in the trap. Now you have to break out. What does that sound like to you? I really believe that Saints Row, the people THQ, I really believe they put in way more money in Saints Row 2 than they got back. And they probably didn't expect the sales to be like that. They probably thought Saints Row 2 was gonna sell way more than they put. Like I'm gonna be realistic. They probably put like with advertisement and marketing. I'm gonna put all this shit combined with the game, making it with the paying the actors and paying the musicians, like using people music and all that type of shit. They probably spent like 15 million altogether, right? And they probably didn't even get 15 million back in sales. You see what I'm saying? Because it probably was blacklisted. Because if you pay attention to this shit, and you really, like, if you follow me on Instagram, you watch my Instagram, I'm showing you the cutscenes of Saints Row 2. Like, the shit deep. Like, if you can look at it from a deep perspective, I'm telling you, like, how I broke this shit down. I really believe Saints Row 2 ended THQ franchise. I really believe it made them go bankrupt because they was blacklisted, because they was speaking the truth. Whoever like was like the head, a director or idealist of the Saints Row 2, like the writer, you know what I'm saying? Whoever was the writer or the writers, they know what the fuck going on in the world. And I really believe that shit ended their career.